I have to be careful because I was told that when I scream in the microphone, everybody on the team has in-ears in and it blows the eardrums out. So I have to be careful. I wanted to scream louder than I did. But man, God, so good. And we're excited that we get to worship him because obviously he's worthy, but we get to worship him because this is God's design. God's designed the church to be together. And I want to share a few things with you this morning that hopefully is going to help you leave a legacy. And one of those things that we're going to talk about is us being together because it's important. And so I'm so thankful that you came out this nasty rainy day. I don't know if you guys noticed, but we have a big old huge parking lot to the north. Come on. That's about 60 more parking spots. So I'm so thankful to Scott and Mike Bailey for coming out, and they spent hours out there, days out there working, got it in just in time for the rain to come pack it in. And so we're so grateful for that. So for some of us, we don't have to park in the woods anymore. Some of y'all don't know what that means, but that's a thing, okay? Some of us park in the woods, and we take the trek on the prayer trail. And the prayer trail over at the other building was where you went to go TT if you couldn't get into the bathroom. Some of y'all don't know the struggles, okay? We had one toilet, uno, in the worship center, one. All right, we had one. And one day I was walking, because you had to leave one building and go into the next, so I was walking out of the office, going into the worship center, and I see John Morgan walking out of the woods. He was like, oh man, I was just praying back there. Okay, all right. As he was zipping up his fly, I was like, okay. But I was reminded this morning that we got to find joy in the small stuff. We can get so busy with this hectic time that we're in. And I was telling somebody this morning, I enjoy Thanksgiving more than Christmas has come to that because it's so hectic. Christmas is so hectic. So we're going to find joy in the small stuff. And there are some things that we're doing here at WRC that may seem small, but they're making big impact. And we're doing it, we call it Legacy. So this is the Legacy series, but we do this every single year. In fact, monthly, we're giving to other ministries that are doing some small things. Some of them are doing great things. They're all great, but some just look smaller than others. And so we're doing this series because I want to tell you about some of the things that we're doing here at WRC that you may not be aware of. And so I want to share a few of those with you this morning. This is some of the things that we do nationally, and there's actually a little bit of international in here. So this is some of the things that we give to that I want to share with you real quickly, and that is I have a list of about 4 or 5. The first one is Abbey Lane. Abbey Lane is a ministry that helps support ministers who just need a break. They have little cabins in the woods, and so you can go up there. They don't charge you anything. You can just show up and spend up to, I think, 6 weeks there. They feed you 3 meals a day. You meet pastors from all over the country. They're trying to plant one in every single state, and so we support that monthly. That's after my heart, man. I'm telling you, being a PK, if you don't know what that means, as a pastor's kid, my whole life, ministers are leaving. There's more ministers leaving the ministry and more churches closing than opening right now in the United States. And we have to reverse that, and we're working on that. We're helping do that as best we can. Abbey Lane is one way to do that, keep ministers in the ministry. Mercy Chefs is another one. Mercy Chefs is a powerful ministry that they go and serve when there's a disaster. So we give, and most of the time that's just going to be on occasion. So whenever they have a need, this year we gave money to them. I think we gave about $1,500 to them at one time just so they could go help feed more people. And so everything they do is faith-based. And if you remember, Mercy Chefs came to Life United Church off of 210 when Laura hit, and so it's just good food. I mean, the guy gave him a vision to just not serve slop, and so all his stuff is like top notch. It's so good, but he does it for about $2.50 a plate, and it's really, really good. So we support them. Awaken International is out of Atlanta. Obviously, it's an international ministry. That's Big Al. Some of y'all remember Big Al. Big Al has a ministry that actually helps trafficked women and kids get out of the system they're in and into a safe house, and then helps train them and work on them and pray for them and just help get them reacclimated to society, and then they release them into another work program. So it's a great, great ministry. Convoy of Hope is another one that helps with disaster relief, and I'm going to show you a map here in just a second. I have actually a special report from Convoy of Hope of all the stuff that they did for Hurricanes Helene and Milton. And so I'll show you a map of that here shortly. We gave some money to them to help. Also, ARC in Birmingham. ARC is the Association of Related Churches. And so we are an ARC supporting church, but there are ARC plants. And so I'm going to give you some stats on ARC. There's pretty powerful, some of the stuff they're doing. Check these out. They have planted 35 churches in 16 states this year so far, and 7 of those they've launched globally. So they have global launches all over the place. Here's some stats on the numbers of the churches that they launched. This is crazy. The average, or the total launch day attendance was 13,781 people. The total launch day salvations, 890 people getting saved on the launch day, okay? The first day the church exists, 890 people got saved. That's this year. And so I want you to know, why am I telling you that? You have a part in that. All right, we support them monthly, and so the money that we give goes directly to help them starting churches and planting churches. I love this. This is the total number since 2000 that they've launched. 1,132 churches, 1,132 churches they've launched since they started this ministry in 2020. And so what a powerful, powerful ministry that is. And they have some in the waiting. So I love this. 91 couples are right now in the system to go launch more churches. And I'm going to tell you, there's no accident, y'all, that this is our heart. It's because, and here's why, because the church the local life-giving church is the hope of the world. It's the hope of the world. And so we know that, so we pour into that, and so thank you for being a part of that. So every dollar that you give, a percentage of that goes to the ministries like this. And we call these lanes, legacy lanes. And so when you can give to a legacy lane. And so we have national, we have local, national, international. And then we also have my dad's ministry as well. That's in that list as well of lanes. But this is a national, international lane. Here's the map I want to show you about Convoy of Hope, talking about being national. That's all the places they were able to go help, cut trees up, cook food, provide shelter, all things like that. They wash clothes for people. And so that you can see all the impact that they made just in those 2 hurricanes. But you have a part in that, okay? So when we give to Convoy of Hope as they need it, then you have a part in that. So I just want to say thank you for that. We want to leave a legacy, y'all. It's not just a memory we want to leave a legacy. And I want to give you this morning 3 things that I see. One of my favorite books in the Bible is the book of Esther. And I see 3 things in the book of Esther that I want to give you this morning that's going to help you realize that we can leave a legacy too. But it's bigger than you, okay? I want to share this with you. I shared it last week. I'm going to share it again because I want you to know that you're giving to a church. You're not giving to a church. You're giving through a church, okay? You're giving through, all right? You're not giving to, you're giving through. So we're helping people. We've put gas in people's vehicles. We've paid electric bills. Now we do research, okay? We don't just hand people money. We actually call the electric company. We call the landlord. We help as much as we can the way that we can because y'all know, we thought we had it figured out, y'all. One time we said, you know what? So many people coming in the office trying to get something. I said, let's just get a $10 gas card, and then we'll just have them. We'll get like 10 of them. We'll be ready. All right, so they come in. We don't have cash. We'll give them a gas card. Hey, you need to get down the road a little further. Here you go. Y'all, the homeless network is scary good, okay? If you don't know, they are connected. All right, we gave 1 gas card away on Tuesday. All 10 of them were gone by Wednesday, all right? Because word got out. And so we said we have to do something different. So when we help people now, it's bigger than just handing them a little money. We want to pray for them. We want to pray over them. Because, y'all, it's not about what they want to pay for. It's not about their bill. It's not about their need. It's about their soul, all right? We're trying to reach people's soul. And so thank you for your generosity. You're not giving to a church. You're giving through a church. Now, here's some exciting news I want to share with you. This number's not final, but I want to give you this number. We have a legacy team. And so they're gifting, their ability is the gift of giving. And yes, some people have that. Are we all called to give? Yes. Are we all called to pray? Yes. But some people have that gift. And so the team of people that's gone through Growth Track and discovered they have a gift of giving, they have gotten together and they wanted to match whatever we bring in. So and next week we're going to bring in an offering that's above and beyond our tithe. And so we're praying for 100% participation so we can give to more ministries like this. But they've gotten together, and so far they've grouped some money together. So we want to match. So if you guys give this amount, we're going to match this amount up to a certain number. Here's the number. I don't know if y'all ready for this. $66,950. Come on. There's somebody in the room that's like, I can cut that check today. Go ahead. We'll wait. All right. Because the rock on that lot out there ain't free. All right. The AC repairs, we have to do some stuff to the building. Y'all may not know this yet because nobody knows it because I just signed the paper this week. We ordered a roof this week, y'all. Come on. Hello. They ain't free either, all right? But we're doing some things, and so we're going to talk about that in a week or two about what it looks like for the building, and we're going to show y'all some plans, and we're still working on those things. But I want you to know that God's doing some stuff, man. Some things are happening. We're excited about it, and we want you to be a part of it too. And so we're gonna hopefully get to that number, $66,950, and we're gonna capitalize dollar for dollar match, so you can double every dollar that you give up to that amount. And so what an amazing, amazing amazing thing that God's doing on that team. And so we're excited about it. But listen, it's not just about the money. I hope you're not hearing what I'm saying. This has nothing to do with money. We're talking about legacy. We're talking about bigger than us. We're talking about going beyond where we are. Not leaving a memory, leaving a legacy. This reminds me of the story of Esther. I love the book of Esther. There's some interesting things happening in Esther. Esther becomes queen, and so she becomes queen. And in that time frame, the Jews were, they were part of the society, but they were kind of looked down on. And there was a man named Haman, and Haman didn't like Mordecai. Now, Mordecai was Esther's uncle, all right? So Haman didn't like Mordecai because he wouldn't bow down. In fact, we'll find that scripture in Esther chapter 3. If you have your Bibles, go ahead and flip there. Esther chapter 3. It is after Genesis and before Psalms, so it's in that range. So go find it. But Esther chapter 3, and we're actually going to spend most of our time in chapter 4. But I do want to share this verse with you because I want you to know where Haman was coming from. Look at this. Esther chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. When Haman saw that Mordecai would not bow down or show him respect, he was filled with rage. Haman had a pride problem, and he wanted Mordecai to bow down, and Haman and Mordecai wasn't going to do it. Now, here's what I love about this story. Esther was already a queen. God had already put the answer in place before the problem ever came up. I love that. God had the answer before the problem ever came up. She was already in the palace. She was already the queen. And so I love this story because it shows us so much of God's heart. I look at verse 6. When he had learned of Mordecai's nationality, he decided that this was Haman, that he was not enough to lay hands on Mordecai alone. Just to hurt him wasn't enough. Look at this. This is how much hate he had. Instead, he looked for a way to destroy the Jews throughout the power of Xerxes. So Haman got so angry that Mordecai wouldn't bow down. He says, when he found out that there were Jews, he was like, I'm not just going to hurt Mordecai. That ain't enough. I'm going to wipe out the entire group of Jews that are here. And so he had this plan. Well, the plan gets to Mordecai, and Mordecai sends a message to Queen Esther and let her know what's going on. So this is where we pick up the story, Esther chapter 4, verses 13 through 17. And so we're going to get all of our good stuff out of verse 16, but I want to show you the other ones first. Look at this passage. Mordecai sent this message to Esther. Don't think for a moment that because you're in the palace, you will escape all the other Jews, or if they are all killed. If you keep quiet at a time like this, deliverance and relief for the Jews will arise from some other place. I love that. His faith was in God, but he says he will use you or not use you. It's up to you. But you and your relatives will die. Who knows if perhaps you were made queen for just such a time as this? I love that phrase. You've heard that a lot, but that's where it came from. Then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai, go and gather all the Jews of Susa and fast for me, and do not eat or drink for 3 days and 3 nights. My maids and I will do the same, and then, though it's against the law, I will go and see the king, and if I must die, I must die. So Mordecai sent away and did this thing, everything that Esther had ordered him to do. Now I see 3 things in this story that's going to help us leave a legacy. 3 things. In fact, I'm going to call them this morning 3 pillars of a legacy. There's 3 pillars of a legacy. Now I'm talking about leaving a legacy. I'm talking about living beyond yourself. And I'm not talking about being a legend, okay? There's a difference. I'm not talking about being a legend. I'm not talking about being a good memory. I'm not talking about being the best of the best of the best at just one thing. I'm talking about leaving a legacy that lives beyond yourself. And here's what I have found in just praying about this and thinking about this. Y'all, you can be a legend at work and a loser at home. That is not a legacy. Being a legend at work and a loser at home is not a legacy. You're not being the same person. You're a different person at work than you are at home. Some of you are legends in your hobby, but you're losers at work. I heard a story about a guy, and this is one of my favorite true stories. There's 2 guys playing golf. They play golf every Friday. They never missed a golf day. So they play golf every Friday, and so they're teeing up on the 3rd hole, and there was the 3rd hole went along the highway, and so anyway, they're getting ready to tee off on the 3rd hole, and this guy just takes his hat off because there's a funeral procession going by, so he takes his hat off, and he just sits and waits for the entire procession to pass by. Didn't even say a word, what honor he had. And his buddy was like, man, I ain't never seen him do that before. This dude he really has his stuff together. And so anyway, the funeral passes by, and finally they put their hats back on. They keep playing about 3 holes in. The buddy goes, man, I got to ask him. Like, that was interesting. He's never done that before. So he asked his buddy, he's like, man, I just got to tell you, it was amazing to see you take that moment. We could be playing golf. We could be on the 5th hole by now, or the 9th hole by now, and you took the time to just sit here and wait for every single car to pass by. What made you do that? He said, well, It's the least I could do. I was married to her for 37 years. Now, that's a legend on the course and a loser at home right there, okay? Now, I got a word for you today. If you've been a loser at home, God can fix it today. If you've been a loser at work, God can fix it today. There's 3 things that you need. If you're going to leave a legacy, if you're going to do what Esther did and leave a legacy, there's 3 things that I see in this scripture. In fact, it's just all in verse 16. And here it is. Here's the first one. You got to have this, and that's community. You cannot leave a legacy by yourself. You have to have community. You got to have somebody around you. You got to have somebody that you're pouring into, somebody that's pouring into you, you're pouring into, and then somebody follow behind you watching it all happen. You need a Paul and a Timothy and a Barnabas. You need somebody that's pouring into you and you pouring into somebody else. You cannot do it by yourself. That's why we love life groups here. It's about community. You will never leave a legacy by yourself. Esther knew this as well. Let's go back and look at verse 16. If you have your Bibles, go there. If you have it on your phone, click there. But look at what she tells them to do. This is the plan for them to escape execution as the Jews. Here's the plan. She says, go and gather together all the Jews of Susa and fast for me. So I want you to go gather all the people. That word for Susa means lily. It's a flower. Jesus is the lily of the valley. So she had this powerful group of people who were going to be able to pray for her and fast with her. You need a group of people. And I would say it like this morning. Everybody needs a tribe. Everybody needs a tribe. You need a group. And I'm going to tell you, the people who join gangs, they join gangs because they're looking for a tribe. They're looking for a group to be a part of. Let me just tell you can be a part of WRC. This is a group you can be a part of. You can be a part of a small group. They open up in a few weeks for you to sign up. You can be a part of a tribe. Everybody needs a tribe. And the Bible tells us why it's important. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 and 10. We share this verse a lot, but we're going to keep sharing it because it's important. It says, 2 people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person fails, the other one will reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Whoever falls alone is in real trouble. Listen, you know what life group is? Life group is that button around your neck that says, I've fallen and I can't get up. That's a fresh word right there. I've fallen and I need some help. I need somebody to pray for me. I need somebody to reach out. I need somebody to just come to my house and sit with me. You know what I have found, and I've been in some situations with people who've lost some dear friends, some dear loved ones. They've been in just dire situations. What I have found is not the words, it's my presence. I can't say anything, but just being there. It means something. Y'all, just being there. I'm going to tell you, one of those powerful testimonies of this in my life that I can remember is how a tribe works. Eric Stevens had some medical issues, and I don't know if you were rushed to the doctor or whatever, but he ended up in the hospital pretty quickly. And so my wife and family, we were heading to town to go watch a movie. It was like a Friday. I said, look, let's pop in and check on Eric, and let's just see if he needs anything. So y'all hadn't been coming here very long. Where's Eric? Y'all hadn't been coming here. Oh, it was Kelly. Sorry, it was Kelly. I think Eric had reached out. And so Kelly was in the hospital, and so we go up there, and we go to open the door. We can't even get in the room because there's so many people around her bed. I said, this is what the church looks like right here. This is what the church looks like. This is what it looks like. You need a tribe. Everybody needs a tribe. You need somebody that's going to help you get up when you fall, because the devil wants you to just isolate. He wants you to just close off and not go tell anybody anything. In fact, Proverbs 18:1 says, whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire, he breaks out against all sound judgment. One version says he lashes out at common sense. People who isolate, they lash out at common sense. You need community. You need community. That's what she had, and that's what you need. Here's the second thing that I see in this story, that she had a pillar of legacy, and that was commitment. She asked for commitment from her people. She wanted them to go do something. You got to have commitment. Y'all, some of y'all are sitting here, y'all saw that number, $66,000. You're just like, man, I don't know, man. The Lord's leading me to do it. Just do it, okay? Just commit right now. God, you gave me a number, I'm going to do it. If it's $5, if it's $50, if it's $50,000, whatever it is, just make a commitment. Here's what I know about this challenge that's coming up in the next week of giving this amount of money, whatever God lays on your heart, is it's going to be a commitment. It's going to be a challenge. You know what? That's good. Our faith needs to be pushed sometimes. Y'all, if you ain't got to have a little faith to break the check out and write something down, are you even really giving? 10% hurts when you tithe. Man, when the water heater breaks and the dishwasher goes out. One day we had Amy's van, the battery died on it. So we left it at the church, and we were going to lunch, and I said, we'll do it when we get back. We get to the place to eat. We get back in the truck to come home, and that battery's dead. Too bad. And y'all, they ain't giving them away either. You know how easy that was to go, you know what? Let's see. Subtract that out of my tithe. No. It hurts. But we got to commit. It ain't always easy. Y'all getting up and coming in this nasty weather, cold weather, and coming to serve because you said you're going to serve. That's commitment. We got to commit. It ain't going to be easy. You need community and you need commitment. She tells her, go gather all the Jews of Susa and fast for me, and do not eat or drink for 3 days. That's commitment. Night or day, my maids and I will do the same. She said, we're going to take it. We're not just going to pray. We're going to fast and pray. And I'm going to tell you, we've seen breakthrough. This building is evidence of fasting and praying from a small team of people. I said, God, we don't know what you're doing. We need some vision. We need to know where you're going. So we fasted and prayed. Y'all, fasting is not easy. But here's what fasting is. Fasting is letting go of the natural and reaching for the supernatural. It's letting go of the natural food and reaching for some supernatural food. That's what fasting is all about. It ain't about just punishing your body for no reason. It's saying, I'm making this more important than what I do every day. Let me say this too. If you're fasting and gossiping, go ahead and eat. I'm going to say that one more time for people in the back that didn't hear that. If you're fasting and still gossiping, go ahead and eat. It ain't just about denying yourself food. It's about reaching for something bigger, something different, something deeper. So fasting is letting go of the natural and reaching for the supernatural. We have to commit. We have to commit. We have to commit. I love this verse about commitment in Proverbs 16:3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. He will establish your plans. Does anybody in here know who Billy Graham is? Okay. Does anybody in here know who Pearl Good is? Pearl Good was they called her the little old lady from Pasadena. That was her nickname. And she was a prayer warrior for Billy Graham. She prayed before every crusade that he had. In fact, he found out about her and started inviting her to the crusades. But she was a prayer warrior long before he ever knew who she was. And at her funeral, she was 90 years old when she passed away. And at her funeral, Ruth Graham, Billy Graham's wife, gave a word. And this is what she said. Here lie the mortal remains of much of the secret of Bill's ministry. Nobody, you don't even know her name. And Billy Graham's wife said, this is the secret to his success right here. Because she prayed, she was committed. Whether she was sick, whether she could be there or not, she was going to be committed to praying. Let me just tell you, she didn't get any recognition. Y'all don't even know who she was. Some of y'all will do it if you get some recognition. Throw my name out there. Yeah, I'll come help you. Y'all, be that person that prays and nobody ever knows your name. Be that person. Some of y'all, that's natural. For some of y'all, that's not so natural. Would you do it if you didn't get the recognition? You got to be committed no matter what. Here's the third thing that I see in this story. Probably my favorite line in the whole book is found in here. But here's the third thing, that is courage. You need community, you need commitment, and thirdly, you got to have courage. If you want to leave a legacy, you got to have courage. It's going to take courage to do whatever God calls you to do next week, next month, next year. If it doesn't take courage, it may not be God telling you to do it. I'm going to say that one more time. If you don't need courage to do it, it may not be God calling you to it. If you don't need any faith to do it, God's calling you to something bigger, and you've been saying no because it's a little bit scary. You're going to have some courage. I love the Living Bible translation of verse 16, the last part. It says, I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to the king. It's strictly forbidden, but I'm going to go see the king, and I love this. And if I perish, I perish. That's courage. She said, I don't care if it kills me. If he kills me on the spot, because I'm not supposed to go to the king without him calling for me. If I perish, I perish. Some of y'all have failed because of fear. I struggle with fear, I'll be honest with you. There's some things I don't get outside the box on because that's just natural for me. I have to break through that. I have to make myself go do some things that aren't natural. I have to do some things that take a little bit of courage. I love her courage here. If I perish, I perish. I got a word for you today that God gave us out of the book of John, chapter 16. I love the Amplified version. Amplified version, if you don't know, there's some brackets in this version, and the brackets are what's not actually in the scripture, but it's telling you what the words really mean. So it just digs a little deeper. John 16:33, I have told you these things so that in me you have perfect peace and confidence. In the world, you have tribulation and trials and distress and frustration, but be of good cheer. I love how he just throws it in there. Be of good cheer. It don't look good, it don't look great, but be of good cheer. Why? He says, take courage. Take courage. Be courageous. Take courage. Why? Because and be confident and certain and undaunted, for I have overcome the world. I have deprived it of power to harm you and have conquered it for you. That's a good word right there. And if fear is holding you back from being committed, and you don't have the courage to be committed, and you don't have community, I'm going to just tell you, this word right here is for you. He says, take courage, for I have overcome the world. I have deprived it of its power to harm you, and I have conquered it for you. I've conquered it for you. So I did this for you. Be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. Listen, God showed up in that situation for Esther. You have to finish reading the story for yourself. I don't have time to show it all to you today, but Haman had a plan because they had actually rolled dice to see when they were going to execute the plan, because he had a plan to execute all of the Jews. He had a plan to execute all the Jews, and God stepped in. And because of their courage and their commitment and their community, God showed up, and Haman ended up being executed, and God saved the Jews. Now, here's the cool part. They still celebrate today what happened when Esther said, if I perish, I perish. I don't know if you know that. They still celebrate that today. And it's actually called the Festival of Purim. The Festival of Purim. The word for Purim means to cast lots. Here's what they're saying. We won the lottery. I'm not telling you to go get a scratch off. That's not the message today, okay? But that's what it means. Purim means to win the lottery. What are the odds that this queen, who was the answer before the problem ever showed up, was going to step in and God was going to save them for a queen who was a Jew who was looked down upon? In fact, in Purim today, when they celebrate Purim, they dress up. You know why they dress up? Because back then they dressed up like Gentiles because they were Jews and they didn't want to get slaughtered. They dress up today for that. She left a legacy. She left a legacy that's still being celebrated today. In fact, Esther chapter 9 tells us that. Mordecai recorded these events and sent letters to the Jews near and far throughout all the provinces of King Xerxes, calling on them to celebrate an annual festival on these 2 days, and to hold them, he told them to celebrate these days, and this is my favorite part, with feasting and gladness and giving gifts of food to each other. Come on, can I get a witness on that? Bringing a smash burger to somebody's house, that's a gift right there. I want to celebrate Purim today. They're bringing gifts of food to each other. And they brought presents to the poor. And this would commemorate a time when the Jews gained relief from the enemies. And I love this. When their sorrow was turned to gladness and their mourning was turned to joy. They're celebrating to this day what happened when Esther said, if I perish, I perish. Esther left a legacy. They celebrate this every single year in March. Usually it happens in March. And in fact, I'm going to give you these dates because they're important. I looked this up, y'all. This blew me away. I just found this out this week. Look at this. Here's the Festival of Purim. Here are the dates. March 24th, 24th, 14th of 2025, and March 3rd of 2026. Now, why does that matter? I just randomly, all right, I just randomly said, what's going on those dates? Let me go back and look at those dates and see if there's anything special going on for these 3 years in a row. Let me just go look and see if God's doing something that maybe I would miss. Now, I shared with you a few weeks ago about blood moons and about how God shows us signs in the stars. We don't worship the stars, all right? We worship the one who made the stars, but he gives us signs in the stars to show us some stuff when he's smiling down on us. And I found this out. It's never happened, as far as I can tell, in the history of mankind. This has never happened. I went back and looked as far as I could. I got AI involved. I could not find this where it happened again, y'all. Watch this. So here are the dates for the festival. March 24th, the 14th, and the 3rd, 24th, 25, and 26. So that's coming up this year and next, and it happened this year that we're in right now. Look at the blood moons that are going to happen in the next 3 years. Same dates. It never happened in the history of mankind, as best I can tell, when blood moons happened 3 years in a row on Purim. God's saying, look at this legacy that Esther left. Let me just give you a word today. You can leave one too. You can leave one too. You need community, you need courage, and you need commitment. You get those 3 things, I'm telling you right now, you get a word from God, he will show you how to leave a legacy. Some of y'all been holding back. You won't join a group. You're too worried about what might happen in there. You're too worried about what might come out. Let me just tell you, when something comes out, healing comes in. Some of y'all have been sick for years with a sin that nobody knows about, and when you confess it, God just brings healing. And what I have found is it rushes in. It don't trickle in, it rushes in. You need that. You have to have that community. You want to leave a legacy? I do. I don't want to be a legend. I want to leave a legacy. You know what a legacy looks like for this church? In 10, 15, 20, 30 years when we're gone, the church is still thriving and seeing people saved and healed and marriages restored and small groups blowing up and God being glorified. That's a legacy. It ain't about us. It's about what's next. We have to do our part. Hope you'll do that. Are you ready to leave a legacy, to take that step? Do those three things and God will show you how.